Good morning, beloveds.
Good morning.
I find that whatever happens is exactly what it's supposed to happen. Your music was beautiful. Thank you. All right, so there it is. So we are still working on that series. It's all about you. This is the final talk in that series, and we'll start a new one. Can we talk? Sorry?
In October.
Yeah, very good. In October, we will. Because next week we'll be listening to Reverend Scott down. And so we will be starting another one in October, and it's called Can We Talk to God? And we'll talk more about that. But today, we're still doing our series of It's All About You. And last week we talked about just say yes. Just say yes to God, to life, to what Spirit is leading you to do and to be. And this week, we're going to talk about living your life. How do we say yes to Spirit so that we can live our best life right now? The first thing that we do, of course, is that we have to live on purpose. And that's why we have been talking about our core values. What are you about? Because for the most part, what we want to try to do is to put this living our best life on autopilot. We don't want to have to think about it all the time. We talked about a few weeks ago about our core values and how many values you could possibly pile on top. But the thing we want to talk about is kind of like our top ones, our top 3 to 5 is what we can do on a regular basis. And when we know those top 5, we live from that space. And we begin to live automatically the people we want to be. And so that's what helps us to live on purpose. They keep us spiritually connected. These are my top values. I just want to share with you. Spiritually connected, compassionate, true joy, integrity, and balance. And that changed for me because my situation has changed. And I'm now in a different space in my life. I'm certainly, one of the biggest ones for me was about my relationships. And those went great, my relationships are fine. But right now, they've moved ahead, and spiritually connected was always there. It wasn't in my top 5. But it is now. And the reason why I know it's changed is because how it works on a regular basis, how you know that you are living from your spiritual space. I had a little MGB when I was in California. I was taking my daughter and I were coming back from somewhere. And the traffic, we lived in the valley. I don't know if you guys know the valley girl kind of stuff. And the valley is just, it's just madhouse. It's madness when it comes to traffic. I don't care what time of the day or night, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, people are out there driving. And I'm just wondering, where are you people going? Why are you always going somewhere? But they were. And so, heaven help if there's an accident. So there was an accident this day, trying to get off on your, where you wanted to get off. It was a nightmare. It was just backed up, and people were just bumper to bumper. And it was hard to just even turn on the street you wanted to turn on. And so we were stopped in traffic, and the guy, I wanted to turn left. And the guy that was in the straight line, he hesitated for a second. So I jumped on in, because I knew, I wasn't going to get another chance. So I jumped in, which of course scared him, because now all of a sudden there's a car in front of him that wasn't there before. So he's back to back, he's just arms flailing, he's talking about me, calling me everything I'm sure about a child of God. But now he's getting loud, and I'm starting to hear him. And he's carrying on and calling me the B word, the C word, and all of this. So I, being from the space that I was in at that point, jumped out of my car.
That always makes it better.
Okay, oh, much better. Much better. And walked over to him, and I said, now look, I understand I messed up. I have apologized. You see me in the thing trying to apologize. I'm done with that. And if I hear one more B word from you, it's on. Well, apparently he didn't expect me to jump out the car because he's like, this crazy one? So he's backing up and he goes, go back to your car. Your car is moving. All right, so I was on a slight incline. So my car was rolling. I'm in. Now I get back to my car, my daughter is scared to death. I'm just making an idiot of myself. And she doesn't know what's going to happen. This is not living from love. This is no spiritual connection. to be in, by the way, just so you know, this was before I had moved to San Diego and found Science of Mind. This is the religion I had where when I didn't need it, I just hung it on the shelf. And then came back and got it when I needed it. So anyway, so this is what I know. I wouldn't have done that. I don't do that now. And this is what allows me to live automatically and be who I want to be by identifying what my core values are and living from that. So the three things that I want to share with you this morning about how to live your best life is, number one, awake to life. We have to wake up to our lives, and that's living on purpose. That's how we wake up. And I shared with you before, you don't know that you've been asleep until you wake up, right? I didn't know I was asleep in California doing that until I woke up. And now I can look back and I was dead asleep. I was completely cut off. I didn't know that. So we want to wake up. We want to practice the presence of God all the time. Practice the presence, and that's the power of now. Because in this moment, there is infinite possibility right now. Not the past, not the future, but right now. We're talking with each other right now. That's where it is. And we want to always seek first the kingdom of God. And what that means, and I'll share with you what it means to us. Seeking first the kingdom of God, and all else is then added to it. The reason that is that if you know God, there's nothing else for you to know. Right? Because the universe and spirit is abundant. Everything you need, you will have when you first just seek God first. Just look to God. Look to the universal presence for the answers you need, and everything else is done. So that's what we're going to do, those three things. So, awaken to life. I think you guys have all heard this, but I love it. So Buddha was wandering around the land and, doing his 40 days and 40 nights like Jesus. So there's always, the prophets always do this time where they're out alone, trying to figure out who they are and where they're supposed to be. And so Buddha was doing his wandering. And he came upon some men and they asked him several questions. Are you God? Are you an incarnation of God? Are you a wizard? Are you a man? What are you? And to each question he answered, no, I'm none of those things. And so they said, so what are you? And he said, think of me as awakened. Think of me as awakened. And the reason he said that, it's the very same thing in a different way that Jesus said. Am I awake? Where's my mind right now? This is what we want to ask ourselves all the time. But Jesus said, who do you say I am? I love it. And it's the same thing that Buddha was saying. Just, you can call me awakened. Because here's what they know. Here's what we need to know. It doesn't matter these names that people call you. What matters is what comes from your heart. Your heart knows. Your heart knows. So when you are awake, you're always going to your heart for the answers. It doesn't matter what people are calling you. You're tall, you're redhead, you're black, you're whatever names they want to give you. Doesn't matter. So Jesus knew that. Whatever you call me, whatever the heart, whatever God is telling you, that is where the truth is. That is where knowledge is. And that's what we need to know. So, there's no need to speak. We a lot of times we'll see something, we'll see a problem, we'll see something going on, someone's hurting, so something's happening, and we simply don't know what to say, right? I mean, you can see that there's something happening, but we don't want to get in people's business, and if I ask you what to do, can I help you? Then I got to figure out how to help you. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know why you're crying. And can I put this genie back in the box once we pop it back out? Once we pop it out. And in fact, it's already out. Right? It's already out. We already know this. So here's what I want to tell you. All we have to do is touch someone heart to heart. There's no need for words. There really isn't. If you don't have the words, don't worry about the words. And here's what it looks like. I've told you this story before. I'm going to tell you very briefly this story because it's just so compelling and touching and really brought a point home to me. When I was in California visiting my daughter for Christmas a couple of years ago, we were in the mall shopping, and it's just crowded. It's like 2 days. That's how you do your shopping, right? 2 days before Christmas, you're in there like everybody else trying to get those last minute gifts. And so we were in Bed Bath & Beyond, one of those places that have great snow and candles, and it was just crowded. I mean, it was just, the people were out the lines were out the door, and I told my daughter, why don't you go get in line, and I'll, pick up some stuff, and then we'll get in line. Well, as I was going to get some things, I passed this woman in the store, and she just, tears are rolling down her face. Now, I don't know what's going on. She could have lost her wallet. Maybe she just lost her mom. I have no idea. What I do know is this is a human being in pain. So all I did as I passed by her was just reach over and touch her. Just grabbed her arm and just stood beside her. She was looking that way and I was looking that way, and I just held on to her arm. And then she grabbed my arm with her other hand. And I stayed there as long as she was touching me. And then when she let go of me, I looked and I nodded at her, and then I went on my way. You understand? It doesn't matter. What matters is that you recognize something is going on and you are speaking to people heart to heart. Even I had someone tell me the other day, you have this way, when you ask somebody how you're doing, you really mean it. You look at all of their eyes, and you're looking like, what's going on? And that's what you do. It's because I see you. I know who you are. We're one. And the pain you feel is the pain I felt before. And all I want is someone to acknowledge that that pain is there and that something will be okay soon enough. And just touching me lets me know that. Okay? Touching another person, heart to heart, eye to eye, whatever, just acknowledging that fact is all we need to do. To awaken is to learn the art of living. It's to master our mind. You know, our minds is chaotic. There's so much news going on. I don't watch the news. I don't watch the TV. I watch Netflix so I can decide the movies I want to watch, right? It's something that I can choose. And I was watching a comedy show. It was supposed to be a comedy. And the guy just started talking. It was so negative, and I just like, flip, off. I'm done. I don't want to do it. Because there's too much news. What are we going to do with all of that information? I'm trying to live, and there's a lot of choices to be made. And now I got to add on your chaotic world on top of it? No, not going to do it. So we have to figure out a way in which to master our mind and be aware of this present moment that we're in. Today, right now, with each other. That's what it matters. What's going on inside right now? How we're going to affect that is by affecting our own lives. Is by living our great life and expand that out into the universe. That consciousness. To be awakened is to live and listen and be guided by spirit, and meditation is invaluable. This is probably a horse you're tired of me beating on, but I will not relent because it is invaluable, it is essential. And what I want us to do is to rethink what it means to meditate. Because this is not about sitting in some, I was reading some articles when I get ready to talk with you guys about stuff. I research to see what's the latest out there about the information that I'm about to share with you, and is it aligned with what I'm talking about, and when it's not, I just click it off. But anyway, what I'm saying is that meditation, the one where I was reading, the guy was talking about how wonderful it was, and it was just really quiet, and he went to this great Buddhist thing for 7 days or something like that, and it was free. It was all free. You have to go. We're all in the quiet for 9 hours. I don't think so. That's gonna work. That's gonna work for me. I can't even do it for an hour. Well, I can't. If I try to sit there for an hour, all kind of Facebook, too much. All right. So my point is this: whatever meditation you can do, meditation is simply about trying. It's not going to always work to still your voice, so that what? Why are we trying to still our voice?
To hear a voice.
To hear a voice. Right. The voice. To know the voice before something chaotic happens to you. Because when you're in the middle of something, there's all kinds of information, ego things, people have their own agendas, lots of voices are coming to your head. What's the one you need to listen to? And you know that voice because you've meditated, and you hear it in the silence. So do it for as long as you can. 5 minutes. Seriously. Just 5 minutes. And when you are there for 5 minutes, if you want to expand it, expand it. But do not worry about it. Just in a quiet place, same place every day, because that'll start building that energy up. Same place every day, 5 minutes. Just listen to the voice of God. And you can ask God. My sister was she was really funny when she talked about spirit. She was very, very spiritual. And she said, I told God, I said, listen, I'm deaf. So you got to talk loud. So I can hear you, right? So at her mother's funeral. When she needed to hear a word from Spirit, she asked that she see a sign. And for her, it was hummingbirds. And whatever she needed to know, a hummingbird, whether it showed up outside her window, whether a picture flashed in her head, didn't matter. But that's what she needed, and that's what she got. Because Spirit does what you need to have happen. So my meditation won't necessarily work for you, but yours will. And you ask Spirit to share with you, what's the best way for me to hear a word from you? Or you tell Spirit, listen, I need to be really clear and loud and whatever they are, okay? It's very important that you do that. It's invaluable. Has anybody, you got to try meditation in here? How successful do you feel that you are? Exactly. Because there's just so much fear around it. And I'd like you to breathe. Take a deep breath. Just let it go. And if you just do that, if you're in the middle of something and just hang on. Because people will. I was at a conference, a women's meeting networking event. And this woman was saying, she was a speaker, and she said, when people are talking, fully listen. You know, don't get your answer together in your head. Just empty that out and fully listen. Well, I'm already arguing in my head, right? But that doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? I mean, if I'm not formulating my answer, how do I respond when she or he or the person, when they finish with their point? And so I went up to her. You know, obviously me. I'm sorry. That doesn't make any sense to me. How does that work? She said, there's plenty, believe me, there's plenty of time to respond. If you don't fully listen, you haven't fully understood what they said. You know, you jumped in, you haven't fully understood. So, believe, and I tested it out. I thought, let me just see. So, now I fully listen. Okay. You see, I just fully listen. Wait a second. Make sure I've got it. Okay. Well, don't necessarily agree with that. Whatever it is, you have time to formulate an answer after you've fully listened. Okay? You have plenty of time. So, you listen to the voice of God. Take a breath. If you haven't meditated and you're not really clear, it's okay to just take a breath. I love your meditations when you just say, breathe in. And this morning, Terry was saying, there's a lot of butterflies running around here this morning, because I was just, a little, lots going on. And she just breathed for me. Just breathe for me. And then I breathe for myself. And I'm calm. So meditation is essential. To be awake and living on purpose. It is a lifelong gift that you give to yourself whenever you start, whenever you do it. I encourage you to do it now. It transforms your mind. It raises your consciousness. It helps you look at your thoughts, whatever is going on, without judgment. A lot of times we have these judgments on our own thoughts. And we can't change if we judge something, right? If we keep judging it, how do we hear a new thing about it? So we get to listen and hear our thoughts without judging. It's deep peace, and it's a calm mind, so that you're silent but you're alert. It's wonderful. A meditation practice learns your patterns and your mind habits. It helps us to evolve into a peaceful yet energized state of mind, which helps us get to a new understanding. That's why it's so important. So step one, to become awake to life. We live on purpose, and we engage in some form of meditation practice. What we want to do, number two, is practice the presence of God, moment by moment. Day by day, hourly, until you're just moment by moment. Everything you do, you have God running through that. It leads to an inner stillness. It makes meditation possible. It makes meditation possible when you practice that presence of God. And it helps you to know the greatest truth that there ever is. The greatest truth that we're trying to get to is that we are one with the one. There is only one presence. There is only one power. We are with that one presence always. So why is it so important for us to get that? Why do you think? It's so important for us to understand who we are and that we are one. We say it all the time. The oneness, it's the oneness, it's the oneness. We are one. But what does it really mean for our daily living? What do you think it means? It's a real question.
It means our ego is just illusory in the self, the eternal absolute self is the only true consciousness.
Exactly. Yes, it does mean that. It means that we don't have to live by our ego itself. If you get that, I talked about having a mentor and reading a book, or I call it. I have a ministerial group of women that I talk with on a monthly basis, and we just kind of talk about what's going on. But they got to come over. I got to call them up, right? If I never ever had that, because there are times in our lives when you're completely alone, because there's no one that you can share it with. Even your dearest and nearest partner, it's just not something that you wish to share with them. You need to get through it on your own. You never have to call on anyone else. I like to do it because I love the people, the group, the social aspect. But the real answers, you already know. Right? You already know. Because they're within you. So if you get that, we are one. Whatever situation that you're involved in, whenever you're involved in, the answer is right there with you. Just breathe and call on it. What's happening here? This is my favorite question when I'm in the middle of something is, what's mine to do here? Right? What's mine to do here? Because maybe what's going on right now is about somebody else. It isn't about me. I've done what I'm supposed to do. Now I need to step back and let God show them the way for them. We're all on the journey together individually. You get that? Mm-hmm. We're all on the same path, but individually. So everything isn't about you. It feels like it, and I have said all the time that it is all about you. and it is. But so it's all about that other person too, right? So you don't have to take it on. You don't have to always take it on. It's about them too. So that's what we get to do. That's the significance of it. And when we practice that presence of God, we get to live harmoniously in every area of our lives. So what does it mean? To live harmoniously. Harmony is peace. It's accord. It's unison. It's the oneness. It's living as one. So I get to get what's going on with you all the time. And you get to know what's going on with me. And whether you do or you don't, it's okay. It's okay. Because I know who you are. I know who we are together. So I know from some deep well within me, the joy, it's going to be all right. There's nothing to worry about. It is all right. Because we're all part of the one. We're all part of the one. And if we can remember that, then even in those moments of deep pain and sorrow, and we do have those, right? I shared with you that I was estranged from my son for years. Years. And I'm telling you, I did not know why. I did not know why. And it brings tears to my eyes to think about it, even then. And I sat in meditation for 2 years, and I asked that question: what is mine to do here? Because as a mother, you want to make it right. Right? Even a human being, you want to make it right. But it wasn't for me to do. And God just said, you've done it already. Just sit still. Just be still. That's 2 years I had that. Just be still. You know how hard that is? Not to pick up the phone? And I had done it many, many times. And as soon as I got on the phone, my son said, hey, Mom, I gotta go. I mean, he bum rushed me out of everything. He just bum rushed me. He didn't want to talk. Then he called me. He called me. And he said, I'm so tired of missing you. That's what he said. Now, why he had to miss me, I don't know. I don't know what he was going through. He lost his father. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But you understand that? What I'm saying, it's all, the answers are there. And I knew, even though it was a sad time for me, I knew it was going to be all right. And being all right doesn't necessarily mean he was going to come back to me. But I knew he was all right, and I was going to be all right. Even in the midst of dying, we've had people pass away from us that we love. And They are worthy to be missed because you love them. They're worthy to be missed, but they're okay. And it is a beautiful thing to be able to share that time with someone and know, as they know, there's not a person that I've been with who's been passing to the transitioning who was not okay, who didn't say, I'm all right. Not one person. I'm all right. And it's a beautiful thing to be with them at that time. And I know that joy. That's what we get to do when we understand the universal presence and the oneness. That's what it means, and the harmony. There are 5 practices to practice the presence of God. We begin with setting your day intentionally. This is why I talk about for me, the setting the intention is the meditation. I don't get out of bed. I wake up and meditate. Because it sets my day, knowing that I am connected with God. See, the question becomes, if we're one with God, why do we have to do these practices? If we're already one, right? God is already there, and that is true. That never becomes any less true. God is in us all the time, so what's with the practices?
Reminder.
Hello? It's a reminder. Because we're in this physical body. We're in this physical body with a logical mind, and it keeps trying to disconnect us to the truth about our spiritual mind, because it's not something we can see, not something we can put our hands on. We have to know from our heart that it's there, and it is, and it's powerful. So, set your intention. Now, this is Tom Hanks. It's one of my favorite movies, Apollo 13. And, they had all the problems that were going on. If you haven't seen the movie, take a look at it. It's a wonderful movie. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. They're up there in this little tin can, millions of miles away. And the ship is just blowing apart. Ship's blowing apart. And there were 3 of them, and his 2 other astronauts, they were kind of, looking out, gazing out the window and talking about the moon and this and that. Like they had already resigned themselves to the situation. They're going to die. And Tom Hanks just said to them, gentlemen, what is your intention here? What's your intention? Because I'm going home. I'm going home. So what's your intention every single day? Set it. Are you going to walk with spirit every day and know that presence? It certainly makes your life easier. So the 5 practices starts with setting your intention. Turn your troubles into thanksgiving. There's troubles. There are issues that come up. There are stumbling blocks all the time, right? I mean, I'm trying to get some stuff going on the website and the internet's down. That would be nuts. Everything's going slow. I'm like, what's happening? Okay. But I look around and I just think, you know what? I have all of these wonderful assets that I can put into place when that's ready to go, so I can work on this other thing. There are, for every one thing that's not happening, there's hundreds of things that are happening, right? You get up, you walk around, you drink water, you go to the bathroom, the toilet flushes, not backing up. Right? All the little things. Life is good. And we just want to remember that. We just turn the trouble into a thanksgiving. Focus on gratitude. And here's one. Just let it go. And believe me, I get those words are a lot easier than it is to do. Just let it go. But I have an experience, and I always thought, Jason and I always talked about this, about forgiveness, and I always thought when you forgive things, you have to forget it. Because if it's still running in your mind, how are you haven't forgiven that person? But I have discovered that is not true. And I had a victim consciousness, because as a young person, I was attacked by someone who I knew. And I lived with that for a long time as a victim. And I had an opportunity to confront that person and tell them what they had done to me and how I was living my life. And I knew this person was telling me the truth when they said they didn't know what I was talking about. They didn't know what I was talking about. So I had been living my whole life victimized by a person who was living their life completely free. And I let it go. That's when I was able to let it go. So I'm saying just let it go whenever you can. Because at some point, you have to let it go. Because you're still living that past. And we talk about the power of the present and the power of now. It's about right now. It's not about the past. It's not happening. All that's back there is pain or something that you may not want to necessarily hang on to, a habit or whatever. The future is not arrived. We're talking about right now. Okay? So, yeah, I know. But at some point, you don't have to let it go. I got this wonderful, my granddaughter, when I was visiting in Colorado, gave me this great little postage sticker thing that I put in the back of my journal. And I said, just let that shit go. I love it! So I didn't put that up there for you guys, but that's what I know you're good. I know you're good, but I didn't want to rep it. It's real video.
We got one now.
Turning mundane into marvelous. Everything is marvelous out there, right? I mean, you can look at, every single day, and last week we talked about when you're talking to somebody who's boring, or you're getting bored, you know, or even maybe if you're boring, right? I mean, sometimes we are telling a story, we think it's great, but you can see people that's like, what? Heard it. We talked about this the other night, about these archival stories. We keep talking. You know, just check the archive. I already talked about this story. What was I saying? Yeah, the mundane to marvelous. We already know that there are many wonderful things that are going on in the world all the time. And we can just look out and say, this is great. When you're talking to someone who's boring, if you just lean in. Have you tried it? I asked you guys to try it. Has anybody tried it this week? All right. Well, try it next week. Did you somebody raise your hand? You tried it? No? You just rubbing your nose. All right. You tried it? Okay. Did it work for you? Okay. Love it. It does work. Lean into your life is what I'm saying. Everything that you do is your life. I said the other day I was doing something like that. I just need to waste some time. Because I'm waiting for something else to happen, and so I was just wasting time, like 10 minutes. No, I hate that word, because wasting time is wasting your life, right? So, what can I do? I have 10 minutes. I can read this book. I can finish reading some of this passage. I don't want to waste time. There's too much to do. So, lean into your life. Don't spend time someplace you don't want to be. And if you need to be someplace that you don't necessarily want to be, like maybe it's a job you don't necessarily care for, you think about what it's doing for you. Right? Think about what it's doing for you. It may not be the best job in the world, but it's paying your bills, or it's helping you, do some things that you want to do, go on vacation, whatever. So bless that thing. Bless that job. All right? Bless your life. Let it go. Turn the mundane into marvelous. And finally, practice the presence of God. This is the biggest one. Practice the presence of God. Invite. You have to invite Spirit into your life every day. Spirit is there. Just there. Just right here. But you have to invite the information. You have to say, what's happening now? What do I need now? Where am I going now? And you already know from your 5 or 6, 4, 3, 5, however many core values that you talk about, you already have who you basically want to be. So now in every situation, how do I show up this way, Spirit? How do I show up this way? These are the questions we invite. So we invite Spirit in every morning. And that's what, again, meditation is all about. So we talked about being awake and on purpose. We've talked about the practice of presence. And finally, it's seeking first the kingdom of God. To seek something means you expect to find something. Right? It's invoking the law of expectation. When you seek the kingdom, you're looking for the universal presence in your life all the time. You realize God more directly. I can stand here and share with you all of the examples and all the stories that I have about how God is in my life all the time. I was talking to Richard this morning, and he just said, I can't tell you how amazing my life is. God is good. But no, are you saying that? Because we could all be saying that. And I'm just trying to give you some guideposts how to get there, to be able to say that all the time. God is good, and my life is marvelous. My life is marvelous. So we seek first the kingdom so that we can expect good things to happen. We talked again a couple weeks ago about what's your default position? What's your default expectation? Do you expect good things or do you expect bad things? When you go for a job, I'm not going to get it. They never hire me. I'm not going to get this job because, I don't know, these clothes aren't right or... And for me, it's like, if I don't get this job, it's something better. I know it because I've already talked to Spirit of God. He's already set it up. It's in the bag. Right? It's in the bag. I don't worry about this particular job. I know that I'm going to get the job. whatever it is I'm looking for. I just mentioned a job, but whatever it is. So I seek first the kingdom. Because Spirit's influence on my life, you see that? I mean, it's a beacon. It's a beacon of light that guides you exactly where you want to go. It is so powerful. I can't say it enough. The Spirit of God in your life is a beacon. It guides you. And it's just shocking. I was talking with, I don't know who I was talking with, but I just loved it. We were just talking about showing up for a job, just the job that we got. Could have been this one, I don't know what it was. But she was saying, I can't believe all the things that all my experience that are being called forth into this job. This is not what I came for. But I came for some other things, but oh my God, all these other things, and that's exactly what Spirit does. You know, we claim our lives, and we say what we want. And God sets it up. Spirit sets it up, and you've got this great job. But then when you get there, you got this great thing in your life, this great relationship. But when you get there, the match, the union is so much greater than you ever thought possible. Why? Because we are finite. Our thinking is finite. And God's thinking is infinite. So the gifts that we get are infinite, even though what we asked for was a finite situation. It's never going to be finite because Spirit's infinite. So the gifts are always infinite. Always infinite. Okay? So we seek God as the law of expectation. As I said with Brian Tracy, the universe always conspires for your good. So to seek the kingdom is to know that God is all you need. All you ever need. With you and God, you can't be beat. Can't be beat. That's it. And no one else can either. So that's why there has to be the oneness. Because your good doesn't stop someone else's good. And sometimes we get that in our head. You know, well, if I did, well, aren't I taking from someone else? No. That's lack. That's a thinking of lack. And from a finite mind. The mind of God is infinite, and all things are possible for everyone all the time. So, 3 things to live your life. Awake to life, live on purpose, practice the presence and the power of now. Be in this moment, in this room, in wherever you are right now, which leads to higher consciousness and harmonious living. And we seek first the kingdom of God, which is about the law of expectation. We expect great things because we know that we are one with the one. In the coming week, I'm going to ask you guys to please either begin or extend or deepen your meditation practice. It's essential. Don't be afraid. Pray about it. If you're afraid, pray about it. Just ask Spirit to bring the right meditation for you. Believe me, it'll happen. Do that. Goethe said that whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. If you begin it now, you can live your great life now if you do these things. Just the 5 practices I talked about. Beginning your day with intention. Turning troubles into thanksgiving. Just letting things go. Just breathing through it and letting it go. Turn the mundane into marvelous. Your job, your work, whatever you do, your life should be marvelous. It is marvelous. Practice the presence of God. If you do these things, you will be living your great life right now.